FEMA. Am I right? I don't know. We got some information to talk about, but you know what? We got another damn hurricane just smashed us down in Florida. And people keep asking me, why you live there, bro? And I'm like, because it's Florida and you're just get used to everything trying to kill you. Anyhow, we're going to talk about that and some other stuff and whatever it is you guys want to talk about right after this. We're going to be right back.
Paying too much for trucking insurance? What if you could save more by making one simple phone call and keep more profit? You could very well do just that with one simple call to Seabright Agency, 800-366-6466. Call now.
Now here's a question that all owner-operators and small fleet owners should consider. What happens when you access the unrivaled advantages that are available through the ES Advantage program? We asked Jeff and Charlie from Contractors Corner to share their thoughts on how they've been able to utilize the discounts and services that are a part of the ES Advantage.
Your business will make you money if you do well at that business. And ES Advantage in trucking, they do really well at providing those services. So the effect that ES has had on our personal trucking operations, not even talking about what we do on the consulting arena, I've been able to save thousands of dollars a year in fuel because of the relationship with them. I have a new accountant that I work with, trucker CFO, that I learned about from ES Advantage.
They're giving you that 10,000 yard kind of support from behind that creates a way for you to succeed, which is one of the things that we love, because anything you can do to help someone succeed is going to help them succeed. They make money by making sure you make money.
Now, if you're an owner-operator or small fleet owner and you would like to learn more about how you can drive savings to the bottom line of your business, the ES Advantage program has the discounts and services that deliver the kind of unrivaled advantages that are designed to help you improve your overall operation. Get connected with the ES Advantage today.
Oh, that ES guy's volume, bro.
Is it really loud on your end?
Yes, it is.
That's a trip. It just stays level on my end. I don't know. I've heard some people
weird.
say it, that it's really loud sometimes. I'm like, I don't know. But then again, I'm loud. Jeff, what's up, man? Wait, we gotta switch. That's just weird. I can't think like that. It's just weird. I don't even know. Whatever. Okay, Mike Henderson first today. Just gonna throw it out there.
Oh, nice.
Then Craig with a squirrel. Chris Hamilton.
It's always good to have a new king.
Right? And Mike said, it's good to be king. I don't know. How you guys doing? Jeff, how the hell are you? I know it's been everybody thinks Jeff and I talk like all the time.
We do.
But the last week,
no, you've been busy.
I don't know. Got some things I had to take care of.
I knew that you were going to be useless because you were dealing with all that nonsense down there. You got to tell people about the scroungers, man, because that blew me away.
Bro, I'm so over this. Okay, so like legit, we have piles that are taller than I am. Like every house out here, as far around me as you can drive, piles of their lives stacked out in front of their houses. Furniture, clothing, kids' toys. I mean, just everything you can think of. It's out there. I'm sure there's some other items that I don't want to know about, but whatever. It's just everything you can think of from your house, people's dishes. I mean, I've seen families, you could tell it was like old China, right? Just out there. And then you got people driving around the neighborhoods. They're coming by with their little minivans. And they're out there climbing your piles, rooting through your life. And I know it just shouldn't matter, but it does, right?
Well, didn't you tell one guy, could you at least wait till we're not sitting here watching you?
I did. I that was today, and it almost got really ugly because I'm not a great person in my head right now. Just so much going on. But because of that, I got a little extra vocal with people today and was like flat out, could you just wait? Could you not do that right now where, my kids and my grandkids and everyone can just see you digging through our lives out here on the street? It was just a whole thing. I was ready to swing a 65-inch TV, and then that hurt my brain just thinking about it. You know what I mean? I was like, that's my TV. That's the TV from my living room.
Mm-hmm.
And I finally just had to walk away. Just whatever. I got to bounce, bro, before it gets ugly, and that would be stupid. And, then it's the whole thing. I don't know, whatever. But it's crazy. And I just see these people digging around. And look, we've seen people, digging through a pile out in someone's yard and then walk over and start peeking through the windows because they know the house is empty right now. And I'm going to tell you right now, that's a bad idea right now in Florida. That's a bad idea. Governor, every sheriff I know is like, don't get caught. You get caught looting. You get caught digging in someone's house. We can't help you. We can't help you. I'm just saying. Florida people are a different breed. I'm just saying. We're used to everything trying to kill us. And then when stuff like this happens, we're like, whoa, that was kind of extra. And then you got the people that don't want to come in and profit from it and whatever. I don't know. It's crazy. Probably a poor subject for me to talk about, honestly, but it's a real thing. And
I think people need to know, though, that, I was having this conversation with Tony that's the impetus of the show today. And, at a certain point in my conversation with him, for those of you that don't know, he's our guy at Seabright Insurance. We were talking about insurance and FEMA and stuff. And at one point I just said, you know what? People just suck. People suck. There are some people that I should not talk too much.
Right? I know, huh? You start going down that path and you're like, wait, I better stop talking, man.
I'm thinking the survivalist novels,
Yes.
And I'm not a violent man, you know that, but
I'm not gonna say that there may not or may have been a couple moments where there might have been people in my front yard that happen to be wearing their ARs at some point in time.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Well, I asked you about that, what your relationship was with your neighbors and stuff, and seems like a pretty good group of people, really, for the most part.
Yeah, I think so. I'm glad that I have most of the neighbors that I have, and it's nice.
Yeah.
Rosie played barista.
Oh, nice.
Because we had no power in the neighborhood, right? I mean, none. It was god awful.
Did she put on a little apron and everything?
I tried to get her to take her clothes off. I'm just saying, whatever. I want to run a special kind of coffee house, but whatever. She wasn't down with that. But we had the truck.
They have those in Washington State.
Right.
They're very controversial.
Right. I parked the truck out front, and Rosie made coffee for everyone in the house, right? And then one of my neighbors, and she's like, where the hell did you get coffee? I'm like, at the Starbucks right there. She's like, what? I'm like, we got our own barista right here. She's like, what? What are you talking about? I'm like, come on. And I walked over to the truck and said, hey, babe, Rhonda would like some coffee. You think you can hook her up? And Rose's like, what kind of, would you like a flavored coffee? You want just a straight coffee? What kind of flavor would you like? We've got, what's the one I drink? I can't even think of it. I can't even think. Cinnamon dulce. We got some, mint, something or other, some caramel, this. And I'm like, she's like, just real coffee, just real straight coffee. What is going on outside your truck, Jeff? Because you're killing me.
So just a little tip, guys, gals, and others. When you see someone trying to back into a spot at a Love's, could you just do everybody a favor and not try to cut behind the poor dude that's trying to back into a spot?
Right.
I just watched like 4 trucks just stop this guy. He's trying to back into a spot, and it's one of those weird Loves with the angled parking and the curb. He's doing the best he can just not to hit anything, and these guys are, I gotta go. He probably would have been in by now. Yeah.
All right.
I mean, at this point, the truck stop's almost full. This is the time of the day, it's what, just after 6. So those of us that are parked already, we probably started like I did at like 2 o'clock in the morning. A little tired. How about you cut a guy a break?
No, stop it.
You know, that's one of the few things that I just, I don't get, man. Just, what I'll do, like in the middle of the night, especially, I'll kind of get up close to them to try to cut by me, stop, turn my headlight off so I'm not blinding the poor guy that's trying to back in,
Yes.
wait for him to set his brakes, and then I go. Imagine that.
Crazy talk. Or at least get eye contact and a wave. Like, come on, buddy.
Yeah.
Right?
Something.
I'll try and get into a hole, like, especially if I know I'm struggling, right? I'm like, oh, it's going to be one of those days, man. It's like first day. Get in there far enough to let them go by, and I just stop. Come on, man. Come on. Let the row of trucks come on. Just keep waving them by.
And Craig, just back up and let him T-bone the trailer. So here's the thing. That could happen in this particular truck stop because the way it's angled, like I backed in 3 spots away from where this guy's backing in, and I cannot see down that row.
Right.
And this is the only entrance and exit is right in front of me. You can't see over there. So you could be backing in. Someone could pull that BS, and you don't even know they're back there. You may even have done the right swifty move. You get out and look, and by the time you get back into that tractor, someone's back there.
And guess what? You're at fault.
Yep.
You were backing. Clearly your fault. I'm not going to say no. TK, good to see you. Matt Nissen, good to see you. Acceleration Rules, how are you? Yes, I'm at the house. Jeff is in the truck. It is a thing. You're right. James Vaughn, lots of letters and bows back at you. Yeah. So fair warning, people. I apologize ahead of time. This past week, this next week, probably not good to call me. If you need me for something, text me, please, and just be patient. It's going to take me time. I'm off all of this week.
I'll tell you what. Every time I did call and Charlie actually answered the phone, my first words were, "How you doing, buddy?"
Right?
Just because you don't know.
Responses. Some of them are like, Bill Flarn, Bill Flarn, Flem, Flarm. And others like, hey, man, I'm good.
So let's get to the FEMA stuff earlier in the show than later.
Yes, we should. You're right.
So just full disclosure, this is coming third person because I talked to Tony, who's the actual expert. I asked him to come on the show tonight, but he had an appointment with his 6-year-old grandson to take him out on the farm and do some farming work. And you don't say no to your 6-year-old grandson.
Absolutely
you just
not.
Don't. I mean, the kid's still the age that he thinks that this work is fun. So
right. Dennis Lewis, how you doing, Donna? Let's see. I said TK. Jim Wall, good to see you. Buenas noches. Jonah Green, Chris Hamilton. I think I said Life on 18 Wheels. Life on 18 Wheels says he has some good news. We'll catch that here in a minute. Callie Hustle, good to see you. All right, sorry.
Okay, so an interesting conversation. And again, I'm not the expert. I'm going to try. We need to see if we can get Tony on the show maybe next week to elaborate on some of this stuff. So one of the takeaways I had from this conversation, though, is if you do have flood, hurricane type damage to your truck, you're going to find out how good your insurance agent really is when that happens.
Right.
Because the way it's supposed to go, the order of the claim, according to Tony, is you call your insurance agent and they're going to file the initial claim. And then they're going to file the FEMA paperwork for you. Because, which makes sense, right, Charlie? Because
absolutely.
Seabright, let's say you have Seabright. Seabright's going to pay the claim tomorrow because that's what they do. And then they're going to recoup the money from wherever they can, if they can. So they're very, very invested in getting that FEMA reimbursement for that flood damage. He did say, though, that it is kind of a pain in the butt. So this is where his comment of you're going to find out how good your insurance agent really is. You know, if they say, well, you got to fill out the FEMA paperwork first, To me, Charlie, that's the wrong answer.
Right.
I think at that point you're shopping for new insurance.
Right.
I'm sorry, but that's, especially if you live in a place like Florida. Come on. The other thing that I thought, I had never thought of this because I've never lived in a flood area. And Charlie was like, "Well, you should have thought of that, you idiot."
No.
So you saw the video of some of those guys that got hit by that flash flood and like up to their chest in their cab, full of water, just like that. Bam. You got to put your foot down with the insurance people. You got to tell them, no, you need to replace every electronic component in that truck. That's the claim. Because if you don't, and they're like, oh, well, you know, your dash lights are still working, so we're not going to do that. No, they're going to stop working.
Yep.
Sooner than they should because of that flood damage. And so if the truck ain't totaled,
especially in this, let me just interject real quick. I'm sorry, Jeff. So for us here, big difference between those of us here on like the Florida coast versus the flood damage you get up in like the North Carolinas, right? Up in the Carolinas when that stuff happened. Keep in mind, the flooding we got at my house with Helene, the first hurricane, right, was horrible, brackish, salty water.
Right, salt water.
That stuff's gnarly. Let me tell you, that stuff's gnarly. So the first regen that happened in our truck after that scared the hell out of me. I literally thought my truck was on fire, and I bailed the truck and started reaching for fire extinguisher. I was like, oh, man. It took me a minute to figure out what was going on. It's been clearer since, so clearly it worked, I guess, but who knows what the hell that looks like after that. But anyhow, but yeah, and so fresh water, difference.
They're probably going to find soot in your tailpipe.
Oh, yet again, right? Oh my God. God, you just want to bring up all the old stuff, man. You're just going to get me set on fire. I'm going to get in trouble because I'm going to drop words that I'm not supposed to drop. I lack a filter. Jeff can tell you. During our coaching call today, because we meet with our coach every Tuesday, and Charlie comes in late, and the first thing he says is, "I apologize for my words, guys, but I have no filter today. Filthy, filth. Yes, it came out. Just I'm on fire, and yeah. So yeah,
so with this flood stuff, hurricanes, all that stuff, anytime FEMA is involved. So let me put it to you this way. You know, I would never buy a house without a good realtor. Why? Because you hire the realtor to make sure that you get a square deal. There's nothing funky with the house, this, that, and the other thing. I think that insurance is the same way. You want a good insurance agent on your side. You know, the company that's underwriting the insurance, they're going to do whatever the agent argues that they should do. That agent should be arguing in your behalf. They need to mitigate the cost for the insurance company for sure, but they should be working to make you whole. That's the whole idea.
Right.
The other thing that he brought up, and I never would have thought about this because I don't have a criminal mind apparently. So this happens every time there's a storm like this. Guys will come and say, "Oh man, my truck got just washed away. I can't find it." So because of people like that, and you know, this is where I was like, Tony, people suck. Because of people like that, expect your claim to be under the microscope. Especially if your truck really did get washed away. Because they're automatically going to call BS on that.
Right.
You know, 15,000-pound piece of equipment is just going to wash away. Yeah, right.
Right.
That's going to be their first reaction. But it does happen, right, Charlie?
Yeah.
It does happen. But there's enough fraud cases that they're really leery about that story. So just expect to have to answer a few more questions if you haven't recovered your truck.
It's funny. I was talking to Tony after Helene, and he actually was working 2 cases, and I just haven't been able to follow up with him since then. I don't know if you guys talked about it or not. He had 2 trucks that were reported stolen, filed the claims and had the guys in new trucks in the same week, right? And I said, hey, Tony, what are the chances that their trucks weren't actually stolen? What are the chances that their trucks literally just floated the hell away and
Right.
maybe ended up somewhere else? And I don't know, a wrecker came by and they're like, why is this truck sitting here? And didn't bother to tell anybody. He's like, I'm just clearing streets like I was told, right? I
Right.
mean, he's not going to go out and call Swift or whomever, right? He's just going to move stuff because they got to get roads open for emergency vehicles and, you know, all the other kind of things, right? I mean, there was tow trucks running around in these neighborhoods like they were on fire. Those guys were cleaning up, I promise you. But they're just doing a job, right? They're just clearing the streets, making it passable. So I actually asked him about it. I'm like, so what are the chances? He's like, you know, that's actually a pretty good chance. There is that possibility, or whatever, you know. And we didn't get into the dark side of it. And I thought, well, dang, man, that's crazy. I'm like, you know, a lot of these trucks, they should be able to track them, at least get some pings off them, at least until the electronics go completely dead, right?
Right. Well, that's no position at all.
Right. So I don't know. It seems crazy, but I can see where these people are going out there and just scamming the hell out of the world, and it sucks, man. I mean, we had FEMA people in our house while I was at work last week trying to make money, right? For in between the storms. And I didn't have to deal with them myself. My daughter's been handling all that because she kind of manages the house. She's like the house manager. She's the boss. And I didn't deal with them. She said they were, you know, super nice. And, you know, I don't know. I didn't experience it. I've, you know, talked to other people and some people that I know, they're a little cranky pants, rightfully so at times, and sometimes not rightfully so, but they're cranky pants type people. And they're just like, right. And I'm going to say that I believe that most of the FEMA people that are coming out to these neighborhoods and these communities really want to help. Whether the bureaucracy that they are associated to and work for is going to provide that assistance, I don't know. I don't know. But I believe that most of these people are genuine in their concern for people, and that's what I'm going to say. And that's, you know, so cut everybody some slack, guys. That's what I'm going to try and throw out here. You know, like I said, I've been real short fused with a lot of people, and it's funny because other than the complete and utter jackasses like Jeff heard me yelling at while I was driving to the VA today, I'm trying to give people a little more latitude, a little more space, a little more understanding, because people are just trying to get by. Like the people in Tampa. So those of us up here where I'm at up on the nature coast, as they call it, you know, we've had several floods. I mean, I haven't had that yet. This was the first time it's happened for us personally. But like the people that live out by the water in Kings Bay, as it's known, those people go through this quite frequently. Like it's not an uncommon thing. That's why there's so many houses on stilts out there, right? And they kind of, they just expect it. But people, you know, miles from the water in Tampa don't know how to process this at all. You know, one, I mean, Tampa's never been directly hit by a hurricane like this in over 100 years, I believe is what they said. You know, they get the outer edges of it and things like that. And, you know, it gets a little windy. And most of those guys are like, wow, that was cool. You know, and I joke around about the hurricane parties and things like that. When a hurricane comes directly in on you and at you and over you and through you, it can be life altering, like legitimately. And so I don't know. Life on 18 wheels. I sorry, Jeff. He bought a truck.
What'd you buy, man?
He bought a truck. Just saying. Jim said congratulations. Greg said congrats. Matt Nissen said congrats. Yeah, dude, congrats for real. But give us some details, man. Let's hear it. And sorry, Jeff. I'm gonna keep going off on these weird little tangents. I apologize.
Okay.
Focus. Squirrels. Squirrels are real bad. Jeff knows this right now.
You're not asking me to focus, are you? Because that's not
Nope.
happening tonight.
Nope. We're good, man. Excuse me. But so with these claims and such, luckily I don't have any claims with my truck, and I'm pretty happy about that. Jim said, "Life on 80 wheels got a Tonka truck." I like it. Have a little patience. If you're headed down here, I will tell you this: slow down, give people room. A lot of people are driving around without their head right, haven't slept in a week. A lot of people got no power or whatever. They're doing their things, and it sucks right now. Right up through the Carolinas, still left over from Helene and all that nonsense, you guys. If you're heading into these areas, and if you're heading into any area where some sort of major catastrophe has happened, I never really thought about it until I was in the situation, right? A lot of people aren't making maybe the best decisions at the given point in time. And they're just trying to get somewhere to do something that they need to do. And they're not thinking about what's going on around. I've run into a lot of people that are very helpful. I've run into a lot of people who are very forgiving of my piss poor attitude. And I've been trying to deal with that. Yeah, Rosie's dad disappeared on us for 2 days or something like that. It was a whole thing.
Yeah, I had to hear about that.
Yeah. Come say hi, babe. Wait. Here, watch. I'll do this.
We demand proof of life.
Let me lower it so I don't have to pick her up because I can't pick her up today. I'm just saying. I ain't saying she's heavy. Yeah. There we go. Look, there she is.
Hi.
Hey, Rosie.
Still surviving. Still here.
Yeah, like her dad. Look, us older folks don't always make the best decisions, and he decided he was going to go check on the house. He was somewhere where he could be. He decided, I'm going to go check on my house with a half tank of gas in a town where there's no gas, there's no electricity, and he had to drive the most ridiculous route to get to his house. And then realized, I don't have enough gas to get back. Now what do I do? And then his cell phone died because he's Pop and we love him, but oh my God. Just saying.
It's been a week.
Everybody said, hi, Rosie, Matt, Live on 80 with Dennis, Donna. Everybody's like, hey, what's up? Dennis is agreeing with me about 100 years since our last big one. So for Tampa, a lot of people, they're not used to it. I mean, look, we get hurricanes all the time. Don't get me wrong. Well, but them coming right in at you is a different thing.
Weren't you saying that this was the first one in recorded history, at least, that went across Mexico and then aimed right for Tampa?
So, yeah, first hurricane to develop in the southwest corner of the Gulf. Basically, and like nobody expected this to happen. It started as a tropical thing on the west coast of Mexico, crossed the country, turned into a tropical depression, tropical storm, hurricane in a matter of like seconds, it seemed like, in weather time, right? And then went damn near straight across the bottom with a hook at the end to line up. It was like a nice bowl. Like if you ever watch bowling, you watch those guys with those beautiful hook throws. It was one of them, man. It was like right down the edge of the gutter, right down the edge of the gutter, right down, and slam up in the pocket. And Tampa, well, just south of Tampa and that whole area was the pocket, Cape Coral, all that. They got just hammered, man. And then it just did not go well from there. It's just, oh man. And the tornadoes. Holy.
Oh man. I was watching your man Max Velocity that night. Now, when I first tuned in, there was 7 tornado warnings. 3 had already made the ground. Mm-hmm. One of them went from tornado to water spout because it went out over the bay.
Right.
Just crazy, man.
It was insane. At one point, sorry, let me adjust my camera a little bit here.
You're good. Too good.
At one point, there were 18 active tornado warnings at one time. And then I haven't heard the final tally on the really big one we ended up picking up out there on the East Coast. But it was like a Oklahoma tornado, giant wedge tornado, something like a mile wide at the ground. And it just went through some crazy populated areas. I mean,
that was the one that actually killed a few people.
Yeah, it was gnarly, man. That there was a lot of just crushing. Oh man, it was insane to watch, you know, and it was a trip because most of the day, like we're sitting here, we're watching, you know, Max Velocity or our local news and things like that. And we're like, oh, well, you know, it seems like, you know, I mean, it's going to be bad. I get it. But, you know, luckily for us, it's going to be south. And you know what I mean? And it sounds weird to say, but it's not going to hammer us directly on this time. Right. Because we've had those. But then the tornadoes that this thing spun out, I mean, they expect, you know, tornadoes typically on the southern eastern side of most hurricanes that run up the coast, the west coast of Florida. This was something special. This event was something that was absolutely mind-boggling to so many people. Like nobody expected what we got. And if they say they did, I call BS. Because we've never seen anything like this. Not of this nature, caliber, and intensity.
Well,
it was
people were giving me the business for taking that load down to Tampa. And I'm like, well, when I picked it up on Thursday,
right,
there was nothing.
Yeah.
Friday afternoon, I start seeing on the Facebooks, oh, there's a thing coming. I'm like, what?
Right.
Oh man. And here's the thing: I talked to Panther because you know, Panther's a non-force dispatch in any way, shape, or form. You just say yes or no to the loads, right? I'm like, well, I'm a little concerned about, you know, that storm area that I don't know how bad it still is. Oh, that area didn't get hit that hard on the last one. You know, you should be good. I'm like, all right, let's do it.
Right.
Gave me a little bonus to go down there because it's a pain in the butt or whatever. But, you know, made some money on it. Halfway down there, news starts coming in about the second storm. And I'm like, son of a gun.
Right.
You know, and I don't know if people heard me talk about it last week because I was still trying to get out of Florida during the show last week.
Right.
So from Tampa to Atlanta, which is what, 450 miles,
right?
Something like that. I delivered in the morning in Tampa, Monday morning. Made arrangements to just DD-mow and go to Atlanta because everything's closed for the storm anyway, so there's no freight down there. So I made the deal to go up to Atlanta. I didn't get there until almost noon on Wednesday. That's how long it took. And I was calling up Charley because, you know, what else am I going to do when I'm doing 5 miles an hour up the freaking interstate, right? It was all day of that. Just, it would open up, all right, 70 miles an hour. I have an ungoverned truck. But anyway,
right.
70 miles an hour. All right, let's book. Let's get out of here. 20 minutes later, break check. Then it'd open up 70 miles an hour. 10 minutes later.
Yep. It was crazy because, like, when we were coming down, and we told the story last week. I mean, we were coming down, and our side was just wide damn open. You know, I mean, just like everybody's like, I feel like people were looking at us like, why are those people going the wrong way? You know, because there wasn't many of us going that direction.
That big wind catcher going south.
Yeah, you know, and
well, I think I told you too. Like, I decided I deserved a taco that Monday night.
Yeah.
And I think I got the last number one that Taco Bell had because all the people evacuating were all stopping in that TA.
Yeah,
the TA was just out of food. No hot dogs, no nothing.
Right.
Now I do carry my food that I'm supposed to eat on the truck, but every once in a while I feel like I deserve something. And after that day, I deserve something. I tell you what. And yeah, they ran them out of food.
Yeah, it's crazy though, man. But yeah, my big thing to everybody is if you're heading into these kinds of areas, though, really have the patience that the people there need,
Mm-hmm.
because maybe they're just not completely there and present in that moment.
Mhm.
So, you know, we as the professionals, we as the people coming in, really should just slow down and don't go be a damn spectator. I get it. It's fascinating. And, you know, remember, these are people's lives.
Yeah.
People's lives are out there on these streets. You know, we lost 4 vehicles, you know, half our stuff. Again, it's just stuff, right? But it's hard to process that in your head. You know,
Well, you know, I know you live down there for reasons, but you and I were talking about this because I gave this some serious thought the other day.
right,
Because Florida's nice, like insanely nice,
right,
right? But there's some reality if you're going to live down there.
Mhm.
And I was thinking about, you know, my last 20 years of building what I've built,
right.
to watch it just float down the street. That could
Yeah,
happen. That could absolutely happen. You need
that's a
to be
legitimate
prepared,
thing, depending on where you
and
are. Yeah,
and you need to be prepared for that. You know, chances are no, but it's absolutely nowhere near zero, right?
true.
And I've noticed that a lot of nice places like Florida, certain parts of California, I'll say, there are nice places in California, believe it or not, but they have massive flooding every year too.
Mhm.
It's weird, isn't it?
Yeah,
The places that we as human beings like to be
right.
kind of want to kill us.
Yeah. Well, and then let's be real. Like, everything in Florida wants to kill you or hurt you somehow, some way, right?
And now drown you.
Yeah, yeah, or now drown you. Let's be real. You know, like the bushes, they all want to stab you.
Yeah.
All the insects want to eat you. The wildlife is like, we'll chew on your bones, bro. And I'm like, okay,
Well, Donna was saying that she saw a video of one of the storm chasers driving through a flood area, and a gator came up and bit their cage.
yeah, I can see that. That would be awesome. Yeah, it's just so much
I
craziness.
bet they got a lot of views, Charlie.
Yeah, no doubt. See, Life on 18 Wheels says you got to be from Florida to love Florida. I'm not from here. I grew up in LA, and then I transplanted over to North Carolina, you know, for Fort Bragg and all that. And I absolutely fell in love with Florida back in 98, 99, around there.
Mm-hmm.
And we moved away to go help family in Oregon in 2004. We actually moved down here in the end of 99. I started my PI firm, and had that running for a couple of years, and we loved it, and had several hurricanes then too. We were a little further inland at that point in time, not quite so dramatic, you know, a little windy, things falling down, whatever. But I absolutely loved it, and you know what? I still love it. But if you're gonna move here and you're gonna live near the coast, people should know that you should know what you're getting into. I'm just saying.
Even we really, really, really like the Oregon coast.
Right.
Love it. But you know, the 101 going down there to Toledo, that has to get rebuilt like every other year because it literally just slides off.
Right.
You know, the people that I can't really feel all that sorry for is those condos that they put up right on the beachhead. They keep falling off and then getting rebuilt and falling off and then getting rebuilt. I build up on where the rocks are. That's all I my recommendation for those people.
I feel your Life on 18 Wheels. I get you, man. Yeah.
You should see my legs.
Oh my God, the mosquitoes right now are insanity. But yeah, it's a thing. Anything you say, Wimpy, carry on, sir. But yeah, the mosquitoes down here will definitely let you know what's going on. You know, it's a trippy thing. The bugs are amazing. I think every bug has some sort of way to cause you discomfort.
Mhm.
But you know what? I still love it. That's the crazy thing. I still love it. These things happen, and you got to get through them. It's like anywhere else. Out on the West Coast, you got the earthquakes that are more frequent, right? I mean, everybody thinks, oh, it's just California's got earthquakes. No,
No, it's
there's
not.
earthquakes all across the U.S. Let's be real. Most people don't notice them. They're happening all the time. Doesn't mean that you can't get a big one here and there. Just saying, be aware. Hell, Florida's had a couple.
We
in
had
the
we
future,
had one in Portland, about 10 years ago or so, that cracked the foundations in some of the buildings.
right?
Yeah.
And these were buildings that were already, quote, earthquake proofed. They had done all the upgrades. So yeah.
Dennis, that's great. If you move to Florida, remember, hurricane is like family. It visits for a couple of days and then leaves. And lets its presence be known for quite some time afterwards,
Yes.
and everybody talks about it. I'm just saying. Virgil Kane, good to see you, Manchester. Glad you're here. Matt Nissen, we had a few in South Carolina. Mike Fowler, good to see you. But yeah, I mean, everywhere you go, there's some sort, especially in the U.S., there is some sort of natural disaster prone to your area, right?
We get snowed in.
Yeah, look at the up Wyoming. Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
Feet, tens and tens of feet. Like our tens and tens of viewers, right? I mean, I couldn't do that. I think those people are crazy, and they think I'm absolutely insane living down here. So I mean, I get it, and it's just everywhere's got their thing. You
Yeah,
either learn to live with it or you
Charlie,
move.
they've got sheep.
Hey now, sheeple are people. What? I'm just saying, every place, state, town, and city has its own little charm, but not
So
everyone will enjoy it. Absolutely, Ismail.
yeah. Well, and that, okay, I'm going to get patriotic just for a second, Charlie.
Dun, 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 dun.
One of
That's
the best things, in my opinion, about this country is if you don't like where you live, you can move.
right.
You don't need papers. You don't need permission. You can move anywhere inside these United States. You don't like the lower 48, you can move to Alaska.
Kiss me.
It's quite a thing, really. When you look at, even in Europe, do you have friends still that live over there, Charlie?
Where?
In Europe, they
No.
have the whole European Union thing. So you got the passport. So
Yeah.
they got those trains that go all over, so you could go visit anywhere you want.
Yeah.
Try moving from like Germany to France or France to Italy.
Right.
Yeah, they have laws. It's weird.
Virgil Kane, I love you, man. I don't know you well enough, but what the hell? Why not? Just saying. Don't go crazy now in the chat. Sometimes you go off the rails, brother. I mean, I appreciate you, but good Lord, you go deep sometimes. And I don't even know
So, acceleration, our buddy Acceleration Rules.
Yeah.
He gives me an opening that I'm going to take, Charlie, because Tony wanted us to get political.
Hey, now.
We don't get political on the show other than when things affect our businesses, right? I think that you should pay attention to things that are going to affect your business. Imagine the insurance increases coming thanks to you guys. So that's not really a thing, just so you know. But here's what is a thing. There is legislation on the docket, and I was too lazy to look up the numbers and all that stuff. You guys have access to Google like the rest of us, so you can look it up. I think you should be interested in this. Raising the insurance cap on commercial vehicles from $1 million to $3 to $5 million.
Oh, that's going to get expensive.
So that will effectively, according to Tony, and it's Tony's fault. This is about as political as we get. That's going to effectively double everybody's rates on everything.
Right.
And then you know who the only winners for that is? The lawyers. because now they can get bigger settlements.
Right.
That's it. They do things on contingency, but you know what that contingency is most of the time? It's 50% or more.
Right.
On a lot of them. I think Gitman, what did they get? 46% of the big SWIFT settlement? Something like that?
Yep.
46% of $100 million. It took them 10 years to earn that. So who really made out like a bandit on that? It certainly wasn't the owner-operators of SWIFT. I think the highest...
Whoever had the billable hours, that's who made it.
I think the highest settlement check I heard of was somewhere around $46,000. Out of that,
I think I saw like a 64.
Did you?
Yeah, it freaked me out, but whatever.
So the lawyers definitely made out like bandits on that. It didn't. Okay, so it got SWIFT to change the wording of their contract, but if you read the wording, it means exactly the same.
Right.
That's all it did. It didn't help owners at all. It didn't prove any points at all, other than AB 5 was based on that lawsuit and others.
Yes.
So now, mega carriers, and everybody's got their opinion on the mega carriers and whatever. I've made really good money working at mega carriers as a quote lease operator unquote. It just scared them out of those states. So now you can't be an owner operator at SWIFT in California. And what, 13 states total now?
Right.
We think that we have a way around it, but that's another discussion entirely. We want people to be able to be in business, period. We would like to see government out of our business. And that's pretty much, that's my political statement for the day, Charlie. Pay attention to the things that are going to affect your business. Pay attention to things like the PRO Act. Again, it's kind of dead in the water right now, but it's not gone. It can be revived at a moment's notice. Pay attention to the reforms for insurance. If they force us to get more insurance, it's going to cost us more money. That's, if the most famous one right now, and I'll call the company out because it's been all over the socials, if you've been paying attention at all, Progressive Insurance doubled their physical damage and liability insurance rates for commercial truck drivers this last year. Right. Doubled it. Guys went out of business. There's several groups that I'm involved in on Facebook that are full of independents, and a lot of guys just said, "Here, have the keys. I'm done," because they couldn't afford their insurance, man.
Right.
Not with the rates the way they are. And Charlie and I, we look at these things, and there is a reason why we do business the way we do. There you go, Craig. Craig looked it up. HR 6884, or the Fair Compensation for Truck Crash Victims Act. Yeah, how about compensation for the poor trucker that guy committed suicide from?
Right.
Because what was the last thing I looked at from Highway Safety Commission? Something like 70% of fatalities were actually caused by the four-wheeler. So
yeah,
it's a money game, man. They're going to go after a company like SWIFT because they've got billions of dollars. Doesn't matter who's at fault. They're going after that money. They don't care about the people that died.
Yeah, sweet team.
Yeah, OTR Big said, Charlie, do you and your wife team drive? Yup.
Yep.
It's my nighttime driver right here. She does the hard work. But my camera's going crazy. I gotta quit. Keep messing it up. All right, there we go.
Got the crazy focus, autofocus.
There's like banging going outside in the yard.
So yeah, Tony wanted us to bring that up as well. Pay attention to that. I don't think that we'll get all Hannity and Combs anytime soon, like some people would like to see us do, but you like how I did that, Charlie?
Right.
The first name offends half of the people and the second name offends the other half. It's great.
Exactly.
If they know what I'm talking about. But yeah, I mean, pay attention to politics in as much as it affects your business.
Good Lord, look at that.
Yeah, that'll more than double rates.
Right? It's just crazy, man. I gotta readjust my desk here. Now I'm hunching so I can get in the camera view. Yeah, it's oh man. Insurance is a trippy thing, man, and it's funny because everybody says all the insurance companies are scams and this and that, whatever. Whatever. There are
The
some that are
reason
garbage, whatever.
the reason we have to have them is because of the lawyers, though.
And the people. I mean, good Lord. What the hell are people thinking? They see a big truck and Lord help you, a fender bender, a minor fender bender. I don't know what it is right now. I know quite some. I'm going to go back 5-8 years. I remember this conversation we had, and the average non-injury claim at Swift with a four-wheeler was $80,000.
Really?
Non-injury. And without fault being laid on Swift. It was just easier to settle, pay it out.
Well, you remember that one case that we heard about from Seabright?
Oh,
Guy got into a minor collision. We're not going to talk about the collision itself other than that. But the guy in the pickup truck literally just walked away. No, I'm good, dude. Just fix my fender or whatever. Week later, all of a sudden, he's got whiplash. He can't work. He's on disability now.
Right.
It's almost like in Breaking Bad, the first time you see Saul Goodman, and he's fitting that client of his with the neck brace. Good. He's fitting that client of his with the neck brace for the courtroom.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with the guy, but hey.
It's real stuff, man. That's the crazy thing.
I'm all for, make someone whole. You total out my car, I expect you to replace my car.
Right.
If you do injure me so I can't work, I expect something for that. But this BS of just the ambulance chaser thing, it really bothers me on a really deep level, Charlie.
Yeah.
I mean, we all got something from that Swift lawsuit. Every one of us that was a contractor back then.
Yep.
But you and I are on record. If we ever met that guy in a dark alley, we might go to jail.
Right.
Because what he did was he messed with my business, my ability to take care of my family. That's
Look
what
all the other nonsense he kicked off.
And now the laws have been passed because of that lawsuit. Look at the amount of lives that guy, and he died before the thing was settled.
I was gonna say, he didn't even live to see the end of the case.
Dude didn't make it as an owner operator of Swift, decided to blame Swift instead of himself. That's what it is. Lawyers.
It's a damn shame.
We were talking about this the other day, Charlie, that interview I listened to with a lawyer that specializes in affluent divorces, people worth over $500 million type people. And he was talking about this divorce case where in the prenuptial agreement, okay, the wife had a preset alimony payment. But for every pound she gained after the wedding, she lost a percentage from that agreement.
That's crazy.
Now, the lawyer's like, now, I think they should have never got married, but I'm a lawyer, and I could have represented either one of these people as their lawyer. What else can I say? These are the people that these are the Gitman, Sweeney, and Todds, right? They see an opportunity to represent someone in a case where they make $46 million.
Right.
That's what they do. And I've met some attorneys that are decent people, I would say. But it's just a weird business law.
Yeah.
You work for your client, and that's it.
Yeah.
Right or wrong, really morally out the window. It's this guy has a case. They think that they can win in court, so they take the case.
Right. They're like, well, the law states this. This is what the law is. We're going with that. Right.
Yeah.
I mean, clearly some laws need to change. Let's just be honest.
Yeah.
Because there's an awful lot of garbage out there.
Craig Hutchinson.
Yep. Go
You
ahead.
hear that all the time. Swift is why I'm failing. How come you're doing okay then, Craig? Why aren't you failing?
Right.
Why isn't Charlie failing? Why didn't I fail while I was a Swift? Yeah, I heard from an old friend of ours the other day, Heidi, and you know how that went. This is probably the one show she's watching, and now I'm going to talk about her.
That's funny.
But she's one of those people that always kind of keeps her finger on the pulse of whether she wants to be a contractor or not. And so whenever she gets the bug, she asks me questions.
Right.
And they're legitimate questions. They're good questions. And so I went over, our thing with Swift with her. I'm like, you really need to look at, the price of the trucks is about right. Just below market when you pay one off. They are. The freight volumes are still a little low for my taste, unless you're going to team. If you're going to team and you can get in good with some planners, I think you can do really well.
Even teaming right now is a little rough for some folks.
Yeah, but I was going to bring that up. We've seen that in our own group. People asking, "Hey, are you guys having a hard time getting team loads?" And you got 3 people saying yes, and then there's that one dude that's like, "No, man, I'm doing like 5,000 miles a week."
Right.
Okay, here's what I want to know. If I'm Charlie and Rosie and I'm having a hard time, I want to talk to that guy.
Right.
What are you doing that I'm not doing? And
that's what we run into all the time, Jeff.
Yeah.
You're like, why are you listening to the naysayers? Why aren't you talking to the ones that can tell you how to actually make it happen?
Right. I mean,
Sorry.
We had one that Charlie did a good job answering the question. Oh, how do you? I just don't see how you would make it as an owner operator of Swift with it. And he pulled a number that wasn't even accurate out of his bum.
Yeah, $1.45 a mile.
$1.45 a mile, and Charlie went in and laid on some facts on the guy.
In one massive long run-on sentence.
Yeah. We're gonna work on that. GG is your friend, Charlie. GG is your friend.
I know, man.
But we see that all the time, and what we do is as we help contractors get into the business and do well for themselves, you got 3 or 4 people that just gave it up. Yeah, Swift this, Swift that. That's at least half the problem right there.
Yep.
You're expecting Swift to do something for you that's not in the contract? Get out of here. You're in business for yourself.
Get out of here.
We have one of our members, and we do this in our private group. For those of you that are in there, you've seen us do this. Complain. Blah, 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 blah. We can clear that up with one question, Charlie. What's that one question? What's your plan? How are you going to fix it? It's your business.
What are you going to do about whatever the problem is right now?
And you know what? One of 2 things happens. Either they have a solution and they tell us what it is, and we can say, "Oh yeah, that might actually work," or, "Well, maybe with a little bit of tweaking," or this or that, or they just stop talking.
Yeah.
In this particular case, he's like, "Well, I've looked into what it would cost to port my truck out. I've looked at what the balloon payment is." He really thought about it, and I'm like, "Yeah, that's solid. If that's what you need to do for your business,
right?
Yeah, that's a plan. If you're not able to foster the relationships at Swift or JP or Landstar or whoever, you've got some really real thinking to do."
Right.
But I'll warn you, carrier hopping may not do what you think it's going to do.
It never is.
If you can't build relationships where you're at, what makes you think you can build relationships elsewhere? It's a skill. And skills take work to get good at. The most successful people Charlie and I have worked with over the years are no longer at Swift.
Right.
They're at FedEx. They're at Landstar. They have their own authority. But you know where they got their practice? At Swift. They did well at Swift, decided that they wanted more, and they moved on.
Right.
But they got their feet wet. They got their business chops at Swift.
It's a very forgiving place to start.
Yeah.
It is becoming a little less forgiving because they're making some people put their actual big boy pants on and start taking charge. Because the days of the old Papa Swift being there to bail you out of every single thing you do wrong without any thought to why you did it are gone.
Yep.
But there are safety nets in place to help you out. They're not going to wipe your butt. So I'm glad about the changes, about quite a few of the changes, because they are forcing you to actually start running your business a little bit more. You know,
Right.
and that's what they needed to do. That's what gets them away from the litigation as well. Let's just be honest about it.
Right.
You know,
It,
but
you
it's
know, that's
still a
that,
very giving place to learn.
and that's some of the things that we've been discussing with the powers that be at Swift is how do we keep them from getting sued again like
Right.
that? Well, you know, if you did this instead of that,
Right.
you know, having the choice of insurance is a big part of that, believe it or not. Your ability at Swift to basically run your business the way you see fit. I could tell you now that I've left Swift, Panther's got a lot more control over my truck than Swift ever did,
And that
and
threw
it's driving me nuts. Actually, they don't necessarily care where the equipment goes. Like I could do what I did at Swift as far as going home from wherever, whenever I want. They don't care. But there's other things here where they're very controlling over my hours of service.
Right.
I have no option whatsoever for personal conveyance without their permission. Like it's not even on my ELD. They control my dock time. Has to be on duty, no ifs, ands, or buts. Even though that's not technically correct, they can do that because I'm running under their authority. Here's the thing about some of this stuff, Charlie, is when you're running under someone else's authority, and Swift could do some of this.
Right.
They're probably listening now, and Ken's probably like, haha, I'm going to do that. But anyway,
Don't do it.
Jeff said I could do it. But no, Lucky listens to me on that. But running under their authority, compliance is incumbent upon the carrier. Okay. So they can have a policy that adds restrictions, but they cannot have a policy that loosens restrictions. So at Panther, they've taken a very literal view of the hours of service. So if you're on a customer's property at all inside the gate, you're on duty, period. They don't have, they also don't have yard move, which is driving me nuts.
Right.
You know what their solution to me was, Charlie? We'll just drive 5 miles an hour through the yard. Yeah,
Right.
a 20-mile-an-hour yard
Yeah.
with all those hostlers running around being mad at me. Okay.
Did you tell them it doesn't say CR England on the side of my truck? My bad. I had to get my bad. So Ismail said 3 of my last 4 loads have been off the load board, 700, 1100, 2100 miles. Maybe I got lucky, but I keep my eye on it because you never know what will pop up. And I gotta go to Virgil, man. I can't. Virgil is yeah. So Virgil, I appreciate
Hey there,
it, sir.
Hey there, good buddy.
I appreciate it, sir. I'm
a little offended.
Yeah, because he don't.
I think I'm prettier.
I'm just saying, I'm not ready for a man-on-man relationship. So that's cool. I still love you, bro. I'm just saying.
OTR Vic, yes, we do have split sleeper berth as an option. I use that quite often.
I appreciate you, Virgil.
In the expedited freight market, it's almost a necessity as a solo driver to hit dock times when I need to hit dock times.
Ida hears it from me as I'm coming in the yard, and I come in just on fire, on freaking fire. That guy was doing 2 miles an hour. The yard speed was 15. I'm not allowed to pass him. Good God, get out of my way. And the CR England people hear me, and some of them are like, bro, I know it. I don't know what to tell you.
Is that a rule of theirs or something?
It's a CR England policy. Good Lord, makes me crazy.
I thought that the Swift thing for 8 miles an hour on the yard was crazy.
Right? 8.5.
Make it 5 or 10. At least something that my speedometer reads.
Hashtag FOMAR.
We're going there again.
Stay strong, brother. Yeah. Yeah. Ida has heard so many of these me going off on this stuff. It makes me absolutely crazy. And we cannot pass. So I wait for any sign that a twitch from their head in the mirror.
But they might be leaving.
Or
sometimes the tongue.
Sometimes they're like, and that means they were waving me around. It's okay. He told me to come by him, so I passed him.
Good. Yeah.
Okay.
He blinked his left eye. That was telling me to pass him. I don't even know how Ida deals with all the crap that I'm sure gets called in about me. I'm just like, whatever. Nobody's got that kind of time. Look, I run my clock. When I'm working, my clock is running. A lot of these guys, they're trying to play that crawl game so their clock doesn't start. They're still in sleeper berth or whatever. And they're playing that creepy crawl around the damn place so they don't start the clock. I'm like, look, then don't come out here till your clock is ready. Whatever. Yep. Dennis said, how many people actually followed the 8.5 rule? Boy, I tried because it's fun. Trying to hit the 8.5 is great.
It's cool when you go into the Phoenix terminal because they got that sign.
Yeah, I dig it. And yeah, the yard crawl. Oh my God. Anyhow, it's insanity. Yeah. God, we went off the rails there. I apologize.
Hey, we picked up 3 more viewers though from your rant.
Right. That's what you should be doing with freight the way it is. You should take everything that comes your way. That's how you build your name with plan. Exactly. That not Rosie and I, when I was back before Rosie and I, it was like my bread and butter was rescuing loads.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, oh man, we got another blown load. Oh, that guy Charlie's there. He's rolling by. Call him. And I don't even know how many deliveries that I made on time because people were like, oh, I thought I had the hours. I'm like, bro, you had 11 hours and a 15-hour trip in a Swift truck. How did you even accept that to start with? And why did they let you? Let's just be real. Why did that even happen to start with? There's failures all over the place, but you know what? Captain Chucky, woo! Save the day. Just saying. Rosie just caught that in her ear. Virgil, my lawyer is advising me to cease and desist.
I do believe we have an extradition treaty with Great Britain.
You're good, Virgil. I ain't pressing nothing. I don't even care. I grew up around folks. I'm just saying. We are family. YMCA, whatever. I'm just saying. Grew up in LA. Did I mention that earlier?
What? Styrofoam coolers? What?
I'm not exactly. So there was some really good loads, and it was styrofoam coolers. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure where you're going right now, but I used to have some amazing loads, styrofoam coolers. It was great.
My favorite loads were out of Colorado. Those empty beer cans going to Virginia.
Yeah.
Love that load.
Oh, from the broker. Yeah. That was like bread and butter there for a while. That was awesome because I had a styrofoam cooler load that came out of Florida, and this was before I lived in Florida. But I would pick that up and then run up north into like Massachusetts, and then grab a load out of there and I can't remember what the whole triangle was. It's been Peabody, Mass. And that thing was freaking tastic. That load. It was a pain in the butt to get in and out of that place. It was horrible, but
did you see those? Did you see those pictures of the dock I sent you?
Yeah, that was crazy. What'd you have, like 2 feet in front of you?
Something like that, yeah.
Virgil, we try, man. In this world, we all got to have a little bit of a sense of humor. I mean, let's just be honest. Because you know what? If we ain't laughing, we're crying, bro. And I don't like crying. I got an ugly cry face. It looks all like this. Nobody wants to see that nonsense. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I need to take you to a live Tony Robbins event just so I can see it.
No, you shut your mouth, sir. That man is crazy. I don't even know how he does it. He just like sucks the tears out of your face. Life on 18. No, it is not camera magic. She's sitting on my left thigh. That was a question earlier. I wish I knew how to do camera magic. Oh, look, wait. Puppet, ready? Say words.
Stop.
Say words. I mean, hello. Yes.
Do a Mrs. Walter on him.
Oh God. What did they call it? Broker Fleet. We were running for it was Command and then
Command and Echo, yeah. You know why? The real reason why I never used them, Charlie, was because I was mentoring.
Right.
And I don't know. With the load board the way it is, you get the loads like normal once you sign up for them. So I guess it's okay. But I just had this really weird thing about doing weird stuff when I had students.
Right.
You know?
Oh, I had fun with it because I made them learn some stuff.
Did you?
Oh God, they were like, "This is insanity." I'm like, we're kind of dipping our toe in the real world here, you know.
Charlie
like,
in the storm.
That's right. Yeah. So yeah, look, man, there was too much to get out there and film stuff. It was crazy, and just
you were gonna get out there with both GoPros. You promised me.
Yeah, I know. It got a little more serious than I thought.
Yeah.
The last on my mind was the cameras.
You know they have those halters for your dog,
right?
I think you should get some of those. Just let your dogs loose.
Yes. Oh. No, I don't know. I'm afraid to see what my dogs will get into. they're hunters, like for real. Like they're legit hunters, and they hunt like lions. It's crazy. It could be some fascinating footage. But I feel like I'm going to get sued somehow.
Okay.
Because they're going to hunt things that they probably shouldn't hunt. And they are.
Woo. Yeah. Do we know who this is? Kelly Hustle? A lot of people don't like going down there, man. But, man, I tell you what. Even after I stopped mentoring and I was just solo, dude, Southgate.
Yeah.
Love going down there. A little bit of a pain, but you know, I always told my students when I was mentoring, truck driving really is 3 days of boredom and then 20 minutes of abject terror when you try and figure out how to get in and out someplace. That's, just don't hit anything. We're good.
Right.
But yeah, there's some good loads out of there, man.
There's so many good loads.
I went to San Francisco a couple of weeks ago. They bribed me to go to San Fran. It was right after DAW. And I got there. So here's the thing. When you guys are negotiating, remember this. If you get in a position where you can negotiate. So I'm negotiating for this. I'm like, yeah, I really don't. I don't mind California so much as long as I can get out. But west of I-5, man.
Right.
What else you got for me if you're going to send me into San Francisco? Come on. Like, well, what are you looking for, man?
Right.
I don't know. Can we bump it by $500? And you know what their reaction was? Done. And I was like, oh,
Clearly, I did not ask for
Clearly,
it.
clearly that load's paying something because they just automatically, yep, done. We just sent,
Right.
we just sent the rate con over. Ah, shoot. And I called you after that load, and I'm like, dude, this was so not worth an extra $500.
Right. Oh, you guys
I
should
mean,
have heard the calls.
I mean, my all in on that was at like 242 a mile. And this is a contract truck, right? This is not on your own authority or nothing. It was 242 a mile. So it's not bad. But still, to go into California and then San Francisco on top of that.
That's better.
Oh man.
Right.
I should have asked for more. Now I know though. Ask for 1,000 next time. If they say no, no skin off my back because I don't want to go there anyway. And that's what I was thinking, Charlie. I'm like, oh, $500. They're never going to pay that.
Right.
They did. So what do you do then? You know, they accept your offer.
Right.
What kind of an a-hole are you when you say no after that?
Right. Dennis, you have a good night. 2 a.m. definitely is coming too early, man. Have a great one. Be safe. Don't die. As Jeff says, keep the rubber side down. And remember, look after yourself, bro. And others. Just saying, have some patience. I know you're out there doing the same. Appreciate you. Chris said there was a load, South Carolina, Spokane load board, and you just missed it. That sucks. I hate when that happens. Okay. You're like, click, click. Oh, gone.
Oh, man. I could have helped you out on that one, too, because I know it's heavy. I could get you out of Spokane, though, at Swift. Go up to Usk, Washington.
Yep.
That'll get you down to Toledo, Oregon. And from Toledo, it's like, where do you want to go?
Right. They'll feed you whatever you want there for doing that.
Yeah, because that used to be my go-to to get out of Oregon after my home time. I would get with the planners there in Troutdale, like Charlie. I'm going to say this so people understand what exactly I did. I would go and sit next to Russ and David.
Right.
Pull up a chair. Hey guys, how you doing? How's the fam? Oh, sorry to hear that, because Russ, you know. What do you need done?
Right.
Oh, well, we've got this cardboard stuff in the yard that's needing to go out. All right. What do you got coming out of there? Well, where do you want to go, man? I'm like, as far east as I can get. Okay, well, how about Dallas? Okay. Heavy butt load.
Exactly.
Paper rolls to Dallas, which is a much better place to be than either one of the coasts.
Exactly.
And that's how I would work it, man. You know, guys don't believe us, Charlie, but those relationships that I built over there, and not just calling people on the phone.
Right.
You know, I don't remember names anymore because I don't remember names on a good day. I remember David and Russ because I worked with them for 20 years.
Right.
But, you know, when we were in Greer that first time with Michelle, what did we do? We met the planners.
Yep.
When we were down in Florida to meet with Sue, what did we do? We met the planners.
Yep.
Face to face, not on a phone call.
Right.
I want them to look me in my dark eyeballs and say there's no loads. You look me in the eyes and tell me there's no loads. Now, I may not think that the loads you have are great, but you can't tell me face to face that there's no loads.
Right.
There's something.
Yeah, you know what? It's true. Like when you can get in, even Phoenix, you know, when you used to be able to get easy, I don't even know where the hell the planners are in Phoenix anymore now. Right? They've been moving them all over the place for the last couple of years.
They're across the hall from the division.
Oh, okay.
They're with the driver leaders.
Right.
That's what I heard.
You used to be able to walk, even in Phoenix, you could go up into that. There was that one little side door building on the Crystal Palace, and you could stand at a window and stare at people. And they'd finally acknowledge you and like, hey, I'm Charlie, truck, whatever. I'm looking for a load. What do you need done? I'm willing to do some work. Let's make some things happen, Captain.
Man, Laredo.
Oh,
go
yeah.
Up to the window. Hey, what do you got?
If you don't go up to the window in Laredo, you're silly.
Yeah.
I think there's only a handful of times where I didn't get a load by going to the window.
Yeah, I go to the window and be like, well, how's freight? You had to phrase it properly. Hey, man, how's freight looking today?
Yep.
It's really nonchalant, like you don't care. Yeah, you're just looking for information. Well, which direction you want to go? I'm like, well, I'm not due for home time for another couple of weeks, so not south because south is Mexico.
Right, right.
Oh well, how about Virginia? Okay.
Yep. It's heavy. I don't care.
Yeah. Any of the border terminals. Otay Mesa was a great one.
Right.
Walk right in. The guy's sitting right there.
Yep.
There's only ever one guy in there, but that one guy, whoever's on duty at the time, he's he's in charge of that whole operation while he's there.
Right.
Just ask him, hey, border closed today. How are we looking? Oh, we got some stuff coming in this afternoon. Where do you want to go? I don't care. I just left the house 2 days ago.
Right. TK said, yeah, that's what I do here at WFX. Learn that it's Swift, and it's how I do get loads when everyone else still sits. Still trying to understand why so many are afraid of Washington and Oregon, but because Oregon sucks. My
TK,
bad.
Do you pay your fuel taxes or does the company?
While you're sorting that out, Command Fleet was experienced on wheeling and dealing. Absolutely, because we got to negotiate. I loved that part of it. Yeah, and here's the funny thing. So I had this relationship with my broker. He knew exactly what I needed on a minimum. My absolute bare bottom was whatever Swift is paying me on a mileage contract. Not even fuel surcharge added in. I was willing to do bare minimum, no fuel surcharge on a load. That was my bottom end, right? If it got me out of a place that I couldn't get anything else. And so when I would call him or he would call me, a lot of times he called me. He's like, hey, man, I got this load. Where I know you're headed over here, because I'd let him know where I was going. Whether I was on one of his or a Swift load, I let him know where I'm going every load that I had. Hey, man, let me know if you see anything pop up, because he's making money brokering these loads, right? And he'd get me one, and he's like, hey, this one's just above minimum, but if you take this one, I got one on the other end that's a hot market right now, and it's paying X. And I'm like, well, if it's paying X, then maybe you could do Y. And he's like, all right, man, all right. And it got to the point where, honestly, he and I had this relationship where I no longer had to ask, hey, man, is there anything else in this load? He would end every load suggestion to me with, and that's what we got in the load, bro. I mean, that's I got you. That's all we can do. And okay, let's do that. Or, hey, man, sorry, I got another one from Swift that's paying, whatever it was at the time, and full fuel surcharge. I mean, if you can do that, then maybe we could talk, because I'd actually rather do the live stuff. At the time. It was, I don't mind doing the live unload loads, especially on a broker side, because you tend to get in and out a whole lot quicker. Just saying.
So the whole time I've been at Panther, this is my third trailer.
Yeah.
So we need to take TK to task here. So he initially says the company pays for it. Then he says, wait, no, I get a fuel surcharge check every week. That's different. I'm asking about the fuel taxes. Who's paying the fuel taxes, you or them? If it's you, stay out of Oregon. If it's them, I'd run Oregon.
Absolutely.
It's the taxes in Oregon that suck.
The road tax, the mileage tax. What is it, Jeff? I know you know the number.
Well, last time I checked, it was 27.9 cents a mile. Governor wants it to be at 35 because they're trying to push the alternative fuels.
Right.
Which is stupid because it's a road tax, so they're just going to charge the road tax to those trucks too, but whatever. I guess they'll have some sort of...
Oh, they'll find a way. Let's just be real about it.
Well, people are excited about, like, I don't pay any tax on my Tesla yet. Oregon was supposed to start experimenting with similar road tax that trucks have for cars a couple years ago. I didn't hear if they actually implemented it or not. But they literally, you're gonna, if their plan actually gets passed into law, you're gonna have to have basically an ELD device on your car that tracks the mileage that you drive on their roads, so that they
Right.
can tax you.
Good luck there.
And of course, because it's Oregon now, Charlie, you lived there long enough to understand this. So, interesting thing about Oregon: any tax in Oregon has to be passed by the people.
Right.
That's why they don't have a sales tax
Sales
in Oregon,
tax.
because they can't get it passed by the people.
Right.
But here's the thing: once the tax is passed, the legislature has the power to set the rate.
Yep.
So what happened years ago when I was a kid, property taxes came on the ballot. And it was some insanely low percentage. I don't know. I'd have to ask my dad what it was.
Yep.
But it was like a no-brainer. It's for the schools. Okay. Well, now Oregon's property tax is way high because the legislature keeps on bumping it up.
Yep. We need a little more for this. We need a little more for that. We need a little more for this.
Yeah. Thought the lottery was supposed to take care of that, but okay.
Right.
You know?
Like you understand, back in the day when I was OTR, I used to know different dedicated in cities all over the country. If I got a load to a city where I knew a dedicated, I'd call them and ask if they needed help for a few weeks. Dude,
Oh, yeah.
that was gold for me for quite some time, man.
Mhm.
Walmart to Walmart to Walmart. One would run out of freight. I'd call the other one, get a load over that way. I'm like, hey, I'm headed that way. You guys need help? Oh, yeah,
Dude.
bro.
When we first started Contractors Corner, remember, we had guys that would bounce from Opelika for their 2 or 3 weeks that they were allowed there.
Yep.
And then go to New Mexico 2 or 3 weeks that they were allowed there, and just bounce back and forth between those two Walmart
Yep.
accounts, because they were only allowed like 3 weeks at a time.
Yep.
Well, they would go back OTR for the week it'd take to get back to the other DC and do it all over again.
I did that at Temple for the longest time. I'd go there, work 3 weeks, and if I couldn't get a load to Florida, I'd bobtail home because I didn't have to worry about the trailer market thing at the time. I'd bobtail home, and I'd stay home for a week, and I'd get a load to Dallas, and I'd call Temple. Hey, I'm back in the area. You guys need me? Oh yeah, man. Please come down. I'd work another 3 weeks. Rosie and I did that for months and months and months, and we were killing it. And we only worked 5 days a week. We were doing, on average about 900 miles a day, thereabouts, between 9 and 1100. Most of those were about 900 miles a day round. So, we were doing, right at 5,000 miles a week every week. Only worked for 5 days, got a hotel every week. It was nice. I dug that thing. It was great. And it was, nice, long stretches out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Running from Temple all the way down to Brownsville and stuff like that, and hitting a couple stores, and then maybe you pick up some produce as a backhaul, and who cares? You just whatever, man. Run. And it's funny. Every now and then they're like, "Hey, do you guys need a break?" I'm like, "No, bro. That's what Saturday and Sunday's for." They're like, "Okay, man. Okay."
Yeah.
Because I'm like, if we get back, I'm like,
Well,
"Hey, on the short, I'm like, you got another one?"
my 3 months solid at Opelika.
Yeah.
It's a 1-9 now, but that truck stop that's just up the road from them. I know you don't like the buffalo wings and stuff, but I love it.
Yep.
And I would spend my 34-hour reset every Tuesday, and I had it set because I said, hey, I got this show to do. So like, okay, we'll just have you do your reset on Tuesdays. Every Tuesday, go get myself the big box of wings, eat on it, and then go back to work. It was great.
Going back to the Swift guys and the Laredo thing, that Laredo yard, like legitimately, I just want to re-stress this for you Swift guys. If you get a load to Laredo and you don't have one pre-planned on you when you get there, park your truck, walk inside, and go be nice to people at the counter. I'm not saying you got to kiss anybody's butt. Just have a normal, cordial conversation with the people at the window. Hey, just wondering how freight's looking. Maybe there's something else you need me to do, and to kill some time. I've got hours to run, and let's go make some money. And they're like, all right, bro.
The other thing about Laredo too, though, is my experience down there. And I can't me freaking names. Anyway,
Right.
The terminal leader there, at least last time I was there, which was probably about 2.5 years ago, was still the same guy. Really, really interested in the drivers. That guy. One of his window people was having a bad day one time, and I got into it with him. It was over something stupid. I asked him because it was back when they were having you scale your load and then
Right.
come in for the paperwork. And I just asked the guy, "What's it weigh?" Well, what's it matter?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it matters because I need to. I know based on the weight where to put the tandem, so I'm not doing the shuffle.
Right.
All
And
day
the
long.
fuel that may be on board. I'm just saying.
And I finally just said, "Well, it's a terminal leader here. Let's talk to him about this."
Right.
And the terminal leader sorted his guy out. I'm like, I'm sorry, I am getting a little hot under the collar because I think it's a legitimate question here, man. What's the load weigh? It's right there on the paperwork. He's got it in his hand.
Right.
Why can't he tell me what it weighs? It's stupid. And he basically said, well, it weighs this. I can tell you because I've got the paperwork now. And go ahead and go scale your load. Make sure it's right. And if you could please just shut the door on your way out.
Right.
Come back from my paperwork. The guy was glaring at me, but he didn't say anything.
Good move.
So yeah, that guy, I was impressed by him.
Yeah, TK, you ain't lying. There was a load out of there, Hendricks Spring, over there, Eagle Pass. Right? I mean, it was heavy. It was leaf springs for big trucks, but the pallets were literally this tall, right? So no top weight at all. All that weight sitting down low. You could drive. You could do some driving, yo. I'm just saying. And it ran all the way to Portland. As soon as you could get it there.
That's another good one was Portland to South Carolina to the assembly plant.
Yeah.
It was the smaller Freightliners, the delivery trucks.
Oh, yeah.
Just the fiberglass cab, just the shell.
Right.
There'd be like 5 of them back there, and it weighed like, I don't know, 18,000 pounds.
Or what was it? It was like hoods and fender panels for KWs down to Texas out of the Northwest. Oh, man. And you get there and they're like, come on in, get you unloaded because it's only like 4.
So my best load out of Laredo, TK, was my first load out of Laredo some 20 years ago. And it was 3,800 miles. I could see you trying to do the math in your head.
Right.
So I picked this load up out of the yard, and I'm just doing my thing. I'm happy. I'm a new driver. I've been out for like 3 weeks. I think I'm going home. Get all the way to Twin Falls, Idaho. This is back with the big brick Qualcomms.
Yeah.
You remember the beep, 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 beep,
Yeah.
beep? Stop now, stop now, stop now. Red lights blinking. So I stop at the pilot, read the message, give us a call. Yeah, just hang tight. We're not sure what's on your trailer.
Oops.
It was egg cartons, by the way. Tip to tail, egg cartons. They figured out that Mexico had loaded 2 loads on that trailer. One for Springfield, Oregon, and the other one for Chicago.
Nice.
And me being a brand new driver making 24 cents a mile, they decided to just let me do the whole thing.
That's beautiful. I love when someone else to screw up works for you.
Yes, that's what we made back in the day, guys. 24 cents a mile to start.
Right.
And that was actually higher than the class before me. They were at like 21. So
I did make 25 when I started in 04, even at FFE. And then I came to Swift in 08, and I think we were 25 then too. Yeah. See, Ida. Oh my God. But look, whatever. That's gonna spark the whole we're not getting paid enough, Jeff. And that'll start a whole nother thing, right? Look, man.
23 and 98 for Mike.
Yeah.
So what's a brand new Swift driver right out of the academy making now? Do you know?
I think they're like in the 40 range somewhere. And if they go to a dedicated, it could be as high as 50, depending on the dedicated.
Yeah, dude, that's a crazy thing about dedicated stuff is sometimes they pay less, but sometimes, my one of my best friends, he had a student on his truck, and she went to the Home Depot account out of Phoenix, right off his truck, making 50 cents a mile.
Yep.
And we were just like, okay, you got to show me a settlement because I don't believe that. She showed us the settlement. Sure enough, 50 cents a mile right off the truck.
Yeah, I just said hers are at 47 right off the truck.
Okay. I need to reevaluate what I'm paying myself, I guess. Well, I based my pay when I formed the S Corp 2.5 years ago on what the top pay out of the Troutdale terminal was for an OTR driver, which at the
Right.
time was 57 cents a mile.
Right.
It's gone up since then, obviously. But I mean, when you have an S Corp, though, and we could discuss this a little bit, you want to pay yourself as little as possible and get away with it because of the tax benefits. So, you know.
Look at that. Some of the East Regional guys are 55.
Yeah, I couldn't do that Eastern Regional account, man. I kept wanting to go home.
Right.
And I lived in Oregon at the time. It was an interesting experiment, though, wasn't it, Charlie?
It was. The numbers were legit.
Really good. Yeah. If you live over there.
Get out of it.
Yeah. But you have to stay in that
market
region.
crumbled.
Yeah.
Oversaturated.
So this will drive people nuts. You know, you guys that are contractors at mega carriers, you're gonna. If you're driving, just maybe mute me for a second. So, I just deadheaded 365 miles to take a 648 mile load. But it's different. But it's a different operation.
Right.
There was nothing in this load. Like Panther's literally making $100 off this thing, as it is. But I was in a bad area.
Excuse me.
This load penciled out at an all-in rate of $1.78. Not bad. I try to keep it closer to $2. But for going out of an area that was dead to get a load to North Carolina, where I know I can get a load.
Right.
These are the things you gotta think about, guys. I know right now, from what I'm hearing, again, I'm getting this from my friends that are still at Swift. There is more deadhead right now for OTR guys than we've seen in the past.
Right.
I encourage you to do the math. Charlie, I could ask you right now and you would know the answer. Charlie, what does it cost you to have your truck sit for a day?
$134.
So if you could make a profit of $200 that day,
I won.
You win, right? I mean, it's not the $600-700 a day that you want, right? You don't. It's not going to be the $600-700 a day that you want. But how many days at that $1.40 something are you going to sit waiting?
Right.
It's going to stack up, right? Do that math, man.
TK said he's deadheading 322 right now to take a 678.
Yeah.
Hey, man, when the numbers work, they work.
You want me to rub salt in the wound, Charlie?
Do it.
I had to split my berth to make the dock time for pickup.
Right.
Hey, it's business, man. One of the things I hear from my company guys that I work with is that their bonuses at Swift are tied not to total mileage, but just loaded miles. So there's guys right now that aren't making their bonuses because of all the deadhead.
Right.
And they're starting to get a little bit upset about it.
Yeah, legitimately so.
Now, as a fleet owner, how would you incentivize guys? What would your bonus structure look like? Charlie and I have actually talked about this quite a bit. And this is where we think paying drivers, if you're the fleet owner, paying drivers on a percentage.
Right.
Of the percentage of the contract. So the ICOA that I run under at Panther is a mileage contract. It pays a given amount of mileage cents per mile. My negotiating power is in, hey, what else is in that load that you can kick down? And is there enough in the load where you can offer me enough to where I'm willing to actually take it?
Right.
That's where I can make bonus money. Okay. But I'm making 60% of the ICOA owner's contract. That's my compensation from him. And anything else I can negotiate for myself
Yep.
is mine. So I pay for fuel. So that's another bonus point for me working on this guy's contract. If I get better fuel mileage, if I shop for fuel well, it increases my bottom line. I think that's a much better incentive.
Right.
Because I'm motivated to do all the right things for his business.
That's why when I had
own
employees,
business.
I paid them a percentage of what the truck netted.
Mm-hmm.
It made them operate efficiently. It just did, you know.
You got some guy that can't keep his foot out of it. We've got ungoverned trucks over here at Panther. They prefer that you keep it under 65, but I haven't gotten in trouble for doing 70 when I needed to.
Right.
We know someone that got in trouble for 83 the other day, but that's why you're doing 83. I mean, come on. He wasn't even in Texas. His excuse was that he was going downhill and wasn't paying attention. But anyway, he's not on right now. He would have said something. But so you got a guy that wants to do 75 everywhere he goes, and he thinks he's not getting paid enough. I don't know. Why don't you slow down to 65 at least?
Right. You get paid more.
I'm on my second month at 65, by the way, Charlie.
Nice.
And so starting on November 1st, I'm going to slow it back down to 60 to see what it does. And then assuming that I'm still driving in January, I'm going to sell the tires off my 16 to the truck owner and see what that does.
Right.
Because I've got a full set of Michelins on that truck that are brand new. I told him I'd make him a deal and we'd do an experiment and I would show him why he's wrong for the tires that he put on.
Right.
So for those of you that are confused, Contractor's Corner, I am a contractor. And I don't want to talk about it too much, but I'm working on a coaching program for this guy. And one of the things, and you guys might be interested in this, because if you want to be a fleet owner, this guy's got a really good business model. We're all contractors.
Right.
Basically, I'm renting the truck from him for 40% of line haul. That's what it is. I'm renting the truck from him. It pencils out pretty good, Charlie.
Yeah.
Because it's a full service rental. It's like a rider rental. He takes care of all the maintenance. He takes care of all of that stuff.
Right.
For that 40%. I haven't gotten him to open his books to me yet, and I wouldn't discuss it in public even if he did. But he's obviously making some money off of me.
Right.
Otherwise, he would have fired me by now.
I want to go back to Ida's point here real quick. Now that we're heading into the winter season, you 100% want to be where the storm hits. Sounds crazy, but it always worked for me. Look, that's like legit right there. I had a knack for showing up right after really bad storms. Right?
Yeah, me too.
And everybody else was like hauling tail to get the hell out of there before the storm hit, right? And now they've got no one to move all that freight. Oh, that's a dream if you're negotiating rates.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you if you're even on a mileage contract, you're going to find good loads out of those types of places that have to go.
What's OTA?
Fuel safety and on time something. That's what I'm guessing. Fix me, Ida. Hey now, fix me, Ida.
Christmas.
Yeah, Craig, we're with you. Look, if you're being paid to drive fast, I mean, there are loads out there where they absolutely are paying you to drive faster, and they're offsetting that extra fuel cost by all means. But most major carriers, that's not the case. On time arrival.
Okay. Yeah.
Look, on time period. Let's just be real. Yeah. On Yeah, I guess
But
that
yeah,
makes I'm kind of rival both sides. Yeah.
can I go back to my contract real quick?
Yes, sir. Sorry.
Because for those of you, and we really want to encourage this, by the way, as we move forward with all the stuff we do, and teaching you guys how to run a better business, fleet ownership is in the cards, guys. I think everybody should be at least looking at it.
Yep.
And if you're going to own a fleet, how are you going to pay your people? I really like this business model. I could make a little more money if I bought this truck, and I am considering it depending on how my medical stuff goes.
Right.
But is it enough money to justify the purchase? That's the big question, right, Charlie?
Yeah.
You're renting a truck. You're a contractor. I have all of the privileges that I had as someone that owned the equipment. I'm going to have to use a real sharp pencil to see if it's worth ownership or not
Right.
in the truck itself. Or, like you, Charlie, you're looking at leasing a new truck again.
Yep.
Get that sharp pencil out. Get into your goals. What is it that you want to accomplish in this business? Mike Anderson, I can tell you how not to run a fleet.
Right.
That's actually valuable information, Mike.
Absolutely. That is education.
But they say that if you want to learn something, go find somebody that has already done that thing.
Right.
And with Rob at OTR Solutions, who is the person I'm working with, he's done it. And I just did a coaching call with him, and I sent the video to you, Charlie. So I don't know if you actually watched it or if you just read the notes from it. But it was a weird coaching call because it was half him teaching me how he runs his business and half me giving him suggestions on how to do it better. Because here's a guy that I can absolutely see holes in his operation after running it for several months. But here he's built this fleet, right? And he's making money, and he's planning on expanding his fleet. You got to ask those questions of these guys. There's holes in my knowledge. I would say there's holes in his knowledge and in the knowledge of his staff that we can fix.
Right.
But I'm really interested in how he built this fleet. What were the nuts and bolts? How did he get the financing? How did he, and some of that got covered in our interview with Colton, the last one we did.
Right.
On how to build that business credit. I kind of have to be careful, I guess, because privileges, but this is a guy that at this point he can go to a supplier and say, I need 5 trucks. Do you have them available for me to purchase?
Right.
Can you do that, Charlie? I can't do that.
Right.
I don't have the relationships for that. But if you're going to be a fleet owner, get yourself in with, if you're going to do it at Swift, it would be IEL. That's the best way to get a truck at Swift, I guess. Expedited, hands down. If you're going to do expedited like this operation, go to ES. It's what they specialize in. It's in the name, Expediter Services.
Right.
It's all they do is expedited. So all of their trucks, all of their programs are designed for the expedited freight market. They're spec'd right. They're kitted out with all the bells and whistles, all that stuff. They got great prices, all that stuff. And they'll help you get a contract.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, look at your options. If you're going to build a fleet, make sure that you're building the relationships at the carrier that you want to lease onto. If you're planning on getting your own authority at building a fleet, I would say start with the one truck you've got and build some relationships with some brokers and get some consistent business going, and then build the fleet.
Right.
Because what you don't want to do is what a lot of these guys did when COVID hit. I can't, again, names, and it doesn't really matter. We had one guy in particular. Oh, Swift is the devil. I'm going to get my own authority. Look at me, Charlie and Jeff. I've got 10 trucks. Oh, how you doing? Was it about a year later he dropped off the planet?
Yep, never said a word. Could see him lurking in different
We we heard unverified rumors that all 10 of his trucks have been stolen.
Or burnt or something. Yeah.
So go slow. One of my favorite podcasts to listen to, even though I'm not in the retail type stuff, is the capitalist.com guy.
Right.
And I was just listening to a thing of his today, and he was working with some clients of his, and he does like actual, like, buy this thing for me and I ship it to you stuff.
Right.
I think his particular business is in the supplement market, like bodybuilding stuff, which makes sense because he's, jacked. So he's working with his client, and his client comes to, we have 10 new products we need to launch. How do we best do that? You know what his answer was? Don't. Are you out of your mind? Launch them one at a time over about the next 2 years. What? And he made a good point, and I think this applies directly to what we do if you want to own a fleet. One truck at a time. Get that truck profitable. Add a second truck. Get that truck profitable. Add another truck. Get that truck profitable. Build your relationships with your bankers, your brokers, carriers. Go slow. There's no reason other than, dare I say, greed to go fast. Make sure that each truck is profitable before you go on to the next one. I think maybe, Charlie, correct me if I'm going off too far in the weeds here, but if that second truck is profitable, now you got 2 trucks that are profitable, I think it would be okay to buy 2 more.
Yeah.
If you're doubling your fleet size. I don't think you want to do more than double your fleet size in an iteration. If you double your fleet size, and as that fleet you have is profitable, you double it again and double it again.
Yeah.
It's
not a bad model.
We just reconnected with a guy that we met 2 years ago at a conference, and Charlie gets 100% credit for this because he didn't talk to me as much as he did Charlie, but Charlie was all doing his thing. I saw him over there while I was talking to someone else. But he convinced this guy, stop borrowing money for your trucks.
Right.
So his original plan that he described to us at the conference was to have, by this time, 8 trucks. You know how many he's got now? 14. So by making sure that his fleet is consistently profitable, he was able to cash flow new trucks. And we've seen other people do this. What's her name?
Yep.
Sylvia did that. Killed it at Swift. Her and her man killed it at Swift. We're talking 7,500 miles a week. Killed it.
Regular, every damn week.
Paid off their truck, got a FedEx contract, and started paying cash for trucks. Now she's got a fleet. And to give you an idea, when we met Sylvia first, I would say I first noticed her probably about 8 years ago, wouldn't it be? That sound about right?
Yeah.
And since then, now she's got a fleet of trucks and drivers at FedEx doing white glove.
Yeah, last I heard was like, I don't know, maybe 20 or 15, something like that. She
And
had
they're
straight trucks and half straight trucks, half tractors.
And for a while there, she was buying brand new Western Stars.
I beat you.
And we asked her one time, why Western Stars are so expensive? Drivers love them. You give a driver a truck they love, and that's one of the things I think Swift tries to do with their constantly buying new equipment.
Right.
If you love the truck, you're more likely to stay. And that's part of her business model. Give them the truck they want, they'll stay. So yeah, kind of got off there. A little far away from our original FEMA thing, but I feel good that we got the FEMA stuff out of the way early, so the people that maybe saw the tagline for the show and that's what they were interested in, they got that information.
James said he's going to start building his fleet in 2 months. It's cheaper to build a fleet here at Swift. He's got 40K saved up. Good for you. You should definitely have some serious conversations before you make that trigger pull. Just saying. TK, my goal for now is to make myself a truly profitable business. I know I'm making mistakes and learning as I work. Once I do that, then I'll buy a second truck.
We're here, TK. We're here.
Love you, man. My brother, another mother. Mike Henderson, I had 4 trucks, including mine. I made the mistake of paying them mileage. Should have paid them percentage. This was 13 years ago. Yep. That's,
You know what? I'll tell people what we've been talking about, Charlie. Our little owner-operator academy.
Yep.
If we did it at Swift, we're going to pay you everything but the 20-cent maintenance account to work for us for a year.
Right.
And then we're going to get you into your own truck. That's what we've been talking about doing. And I was running math on that again, Charlie. And, you know, on brand new trucks, that first year has almost no maintenance on it anyway.
Right.
So that would put the
Basic
business
service.
profitable. We just need to make some deals with IEL before
Yeah.
we could actually do that. But we figure, and you know, some of you guys might be interested in talking to us more about this business model. We were thinking that a fleet of 10 trucks that were consistently recycled, right? So we start with one in January. That guy's gonna sign that lease over to him. The following January, we do another one in February. So maybe 12 trucks at a time. And everybody makes money. The person that thinks they want to be an owner operator gets their feet wet before they make the purchase.
Right.
I just, you know,
And constant coaching.
constant coaching. That's why we want the 20 cents a mile for the maintenance fund, and that'll go into the escrow. And if it's not used for maintenance, we actually get to pay ourselves something.
Right.
That'd be nice. But yeah, I think it's a viable business model to teach people. And
That's
I
a
think
good
that
number,
people,
Craig. 10 is a better number.
yeah,
weird. I don't know why, but it is.
I like 10. When we talk up to you, Craig, about the opportunity that we have for you, at least 10.
Count on
Just saying.
something like 20 to 25% of your fleet being down at any given time, either maintenance or time off or things like that. And 10 works, that the numbers work better with 10 than 8, based on keeping consistent cash flow.
So talking to Colton, because I talked to him about wanting to be a fleet owner myself, he thinks that the minimum amount of trucks to be safe is 5, and you figure 2 remain unseated at any given time.
Right.
That's the bare minimum to be a viable fleet.
Right.
And of course, the more you have, the percentage is about the same. So if you have 10 trucks, just plan on 4 of them being unseated at any given time,
Right.
down for maintenance. Some jackass decides to drive in the ice when he shouldn't be, jackknifes the truck, things like that.
Mike, you're not alone in that mistake or that decision. We've seen many people make that same tragic mistake. Mike said, I'd only been an OO myself for 2 years. I didn't understand so much about trucking, especially when it came to fuel. Yes.
Yeah, fuel's the biggest expense that most people have. So Jim Wall Cat, there's a few interpretations for my name this week. Think of who I'm leased with right now.
I was going to put iguana under mine when I saw cat.
Oh,
Is that
okay.
weird? Or
It is a little weird.
hippopotamus.
There you go.
I can't help myself some days.
Yeah.
But I fought the urge. Sorry.
I was going to put Top Cat on, but that's like reserved for the people that get over 10,000 miles a month at this company. So
Exactly, Chris. Or you jump in with both feet and don't listen to Charlie trying to talk you out of it. There you go. But you know what? And Chris can tell you absolutely that we tried to talk him out of it with every reason that we could give him.
there is a reason for that, though.
Yes.
If we could have talked you out of it, Chris, you had no business being in business.
Right.
That's like the first challenge that you have when you work with people like us. If we can convince you not to do it, I'm going to question if you really wanted to do it.
And it's a win either way.
Yeah.
Oh, look. That's a fair number. I keep a minimum of 5 trucks open at any given time, but I have a shop close to me to get them fixed quickly. Yeah, for those of you who don't know, Ida runs a fleet on a dedicated account in Florida, and she does have the luxury of one of the company shops being 70-ish miles away.
Mm-hmm.
Want to come say bye?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Rosie doesn't want to say goodbye to you people. All right. Hey, Jeff, hit the...
Bye.
There she is.
Mm-hmm.
Check the private chat before you bounce.
I already did. We're in trouble. I get it.
No, we're not. It's funny. TK said, sorry, that's what it is here. Maintenance fund is an escrow. Most of the repairs the company pays, and because I run 25 to 3,200 miles every week, I have to get a PM service every 6 weeks or so. Craig, Kevin's midnight show in 0708 saved me from a lot. You guys have saved me from wrong choices. We try. It's funny because the things that we share with people are mistakes that we have made or have seen very close secondhand, right?
Yeah, even the thing about putting an employee on a percentage instead of mileage, I'll call him out. We watched Alan Becker try several different pay packages, and the only one that was profitable for him and kept drivers reasonably in the seat was percentage. He even tried just a salary, and that dude screwed him over royally.
Yeah, that was brutal.
That dude went from 2,800 miles a week to like 1,200 miles a week, real quick.
It is a forever learning process. We should be trying to learn every day. I try to learn every day something. I have a new book that I have to start on because I lack focus. I lack follow through. That's my weakness. Jeff can tell you. It's a thing. I get great, brilliant ideas. I think they're brilliant anyhow. Sometimes not so much, but and then I kind of drop the ball on the follow through, and it's something that I have to constantly apologize for. It's a weakness.
Yes, but so just some inside baseball for you guys. We're in business too. This is part of our business, and it's hard. Business is not easy. Right now, what we're doing on the Contractors Corner and Road Warrior Entrepreneur side, what we figured out just today, I think we solidified that we need to figure this out is, what's our roles?
Exactly.
We keep stepping on each other's junk, basically.
Sometimes both feet, heels first.
Yeah. It's a thing. You got the Western Star, I got it's a thing.
Nice. Well played, sir. Touche.
But part of what we're putting together is kind of beyond trucking a little bit, because guys, business is business. One of the things that I've had in my head for a long time is business is business. I chose trucking as the vehicle, no pun intended, for my entrepreneurial pursuits. Uber drivers, they're entrepreneurs. Avon ladies, entrepreneurs. Herbalife, whatever. If you're in business at all, you're an entrepreneur. And there's certain principles that are universal no matter what business you chose as your occupation. And that's what we're getting out here.
Sorry, guys.
Hey, Mark.
Mike Henderson, real quick. No, I have not started book 2 yet. I've been, dealing with hurricanes. Sorry. And I have
man.
You got other book first.
You've got a headset and you've got a cell phone. Come on, man.
Look, I've been a little distracted. I got to get to a business book first, and then I'm going to hit the book 2, man. But I dug the first one. I did. Yeah. Hey, so we're going to call this thing a wrap. If you dug today's show, check out the rest of the stuff that we do, right? give us a thumbs up, subscribe, hit the bells, all that stuff that YouTube people say all the time. You guys know the drill. It's
And
up to the top.
for those of you that are tuning in for the first time, and maybe you're wondering, hey, you guys have any like advice, or are you just spouting off? Check out some of our videos. Charlie put together a nice playlist of some of our introductory stuff into being an owner operator. It's on our YouTube channel.
Right.
Check those out. We go over fuel mileage and fuel purchasing and a couple other things. Just keep in mind that there's there's still some of our first videos we ever did, so they're not great production value, but the knowledge is solid.
Yeah, I'll stand by the words. Jeff, final comments.
Keep the rubber side down.
You guys heard the man. Take care of each other. Remember, if you're heading into these crazy areas, guys, slow down. Take a breath. You're going to be all right. Woosah. Isn't that what they say?
Right.
Yeah, and take some time to make sure you're taking care of you and look after each other. No one out here looking after us but us. And we'll see you guys on the back end of this thing. We'll see you next week.